Morning students, once again I welcome you all on online classes of Jamna Christian Junior High School. I am your history teacher. Students, today we will start chapter number 17. It is on page number 168. This is second chapter of civics. The chapter name is the Union Executive. First point is the executive branch. The legislative branch of the government makes the law of the country. The executive branch of government performs the task of enforcing these laws. The Union Executive consists of the President, the Vice President, the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. The executive is held by a large workforce that includes civil servants who implement government policies and the police force which ensures that citizens follow the laws. Next point is the President. The President is the constitutional head of the government of India. But in a parliamentary form of government, the President is a nominal or symbolic head. The administration of the country is carried out in his name. The actual power is vested in the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, who advise the President in the exercises of his/her functions. She is bound to follow this advice. The basic qualification for a candidate to be she must be a citizen of India. She must be at least 35 years of age. She must have all qualifications necessary to be a member of Lok Sabha. Next point is election and termination. The President is elected indirectly and Electoral College elects the President. The Electoral College consists of following members: the elected members of both houses of Parliament, the elected members of the state legislative assemblies. The President is elected for a period of 5 years. The President can be impeached by the Parliament. Impeachment is procedure by which the Parliament can improve the President if she is found guilty of violating the Constitution, of treason or of corruption. Next is powers. First is executive powers. The President appoints the Prime Minister, is the leader of the majority party or coalition parties or the single largest party in the Lok Sabha. The President appoints the Union Ministers on the advice of the Prime Minister. The President appoints the state governors and the other high officials such as Comptroller and Auditor General as the Attorney General. The President appoints the judge of the Supreme Court and the High Courts and the ambassadors to other countries. Next point is military powers. The President is the supreme commander of the defense forces. She can declare war or conclude peace. All important treaties and contracts are made by the President's name. Next is legislative powers. The President can summon or prorogue the parliaments. She addressed the opening session of the Parliament every year. This President address is a statement of the government policy. The President can also dissolve the Lok Sabha and order fresh elections. She can call a joint session of both houses of Parliament if there is a deadlock regarding a bill. Each bill passed by the Parliament has to receive the President's assent in order to become a law. The President may send the bill back to the Parliament if she does not approve, but if it is passed a second time, she obliged to sign it and give his/her assent. The President nominates 12 members to Rajya Sabha and 2 Anglo-Indian members of the Lok Sabha. When the Parliament is not in session, the President can issue ordinance. Ordinances are like laws, but they are valid for only 6 weeks. after the parliament meet again. Next is financial powers. The budget is presented to the parliament in the name of the president. All money bills are introduced in the parliament with the president permission. The president can grant an advance from the contingency fund in case of unforeseen expenditure. Next is judicial powers. The president has the power to grant pardon and reduce or suspend the sentence of a people who has been found guilty. She can also pardon a death sentence. She not answerable to any court of law of her opinion actions except if she is impeached by the parliament. Next is emergency powers. The president can declare an emergency in the country under the following condition. If the security of the country is threatened by external aggression or armed rebellion, national emergency is declared. If the government of a state cannot function according to the law in the constitution, president's rule imposed in that state. If the financial stability of the country is threatened, a financial emergency can be declared. However, the president cannot declare an emergency without the approval of the parliament. Hence, we see that through the president had a wide range of powers. They are all limited and exercised strictly according to the advice given by the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. Next is discretionary powers. When no political party wins a clear majority in the Lok Sabha and a coalition cannot be formed, the president can select a member of her choice as the Prime Minister. However, the selected candidate has to improve her majority in the Lok Sabha. Next is the vice president. The qualification of the vice president are the same as those of the president, except that vice president should be eligible for membership to the Rajya Sabha. The terms of vice president is 5 years. And next is functions of the vice president. The vice president is the ex-officio chairperson of the Rajya Sabha. She takes over the function of the vacancy in the office of the president. The vice president discharges her function till a new president is elected. Next is the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is the head of the Council of Ministers, which is the most powerful political institution in India. The President of India is bound to act in accordance with the advice of the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. Next is position and functions of the Prime Minister. The parliamentary system of government makes the Prime Minister the real head of the Indian government. It is Prime Minister who actually exercise all the power vested in the President. This is because of the following reasons. The reasons are: the Prime Minister is elected head of the country. The Prime Minister is the leader of majority party or the largest coalition in the parliament. The Prime Minister is the link between President, the people and the parliament. The Prime Minister advises the President in the discharge of her functions and informs her about the decision by the Council Minister. The advice of the Prime Minister is binding of the President. The Prime Minister selects the members of the Council of Members. She distributed portfolio among the minister and presiding over the meeting of the Council Ministers. She coordinates the working of different departments and is the vital links between the President and the Council Minister. Thus, we see the Prime Minister is the real head of the nation. She has to answer for the success or failure of the government. The Prime Minister is regarded as the leader of the nation. On Independence Day, the Prime Minister addressed the nation from the Red Fort in Delhi. Next is Council of Ministers. Council of Ministers. The general election to the Lok Sabha take place over every 5 years. After the election, the President appoints the Prime Minister, who is generally the leader of the majority party in the Lok Sabha. If there is no single party holding a majority in the parliament, then two or more parties usually agree to work together and form the government. This is known as the coalition government. The Prime Minister that selects a number of ministers according to his or her preference and submit a list to the President. When the President approves and appoints the minister on the list, the Council of Ministers is formed. The Council of Ministers has 3 ranks within it. First, Cabinet, second, Minister of State, and third, Deputy Ministers. All the ministers of the Council have to be members of either House of Parliament. In case a non-member is selected, she has to be elected to the House within 6 months from the date of appointment. The Prime Minister allots each minister in the Council a separate department. This is called allotment of portfolio. Next point is the Cabinet. The Cabinet is the inner core of the Council of Ministers. The Cabinet Minister hold the most important portfolios and make the most important decisions and policies. The Cabinet Minister hold the highest ranks and have the greatest responsibilities. The Cabinet hold the real executive power of the Indian government and collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha. The Cabinet can remain in office as long as it enjoys the confidence of a majority in the Lok Sabha. If a vote is no confidence is passed against anyone, Cabinet Minister, the whole Council of Ministers has to resign immediately. The entire Council has to answer for the shortcoming or failure on the part of any one minister. Next point is civil servants. Civil servants are the government employees who do not belong to any political party. They can be appointed in the Indian Administrative Service, IAS, the Indian Foreign Service, IFS, the Indian Police Service, IPS, etc. Civil servants are selected on the basis of Union Public Service Commission, UPSC, examination and interviews. Successful candidates are trained and can work as both central and state levels. Now I will tell you some values and skills. As citizens of India, we have some fundamental duties towards our country. We must abide by the law and cooperate with the government to achieve its goal in the interest of the nation. We must encourage the government to smoothly and should not hinder its policy making decision through unnecessary protest and agitation. Students, you have to write important words in your copy. It is on page number 173 and thank you. Have a nice day.